Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a distinct honor and privilege to me to be co-hosting this year's International Forum on Acceptance of Foreign Nationals and their integration into Japan, together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, and to be doing so despite the disruptions of the COVID-19 pandemic around the world. I wish to thank my distinguished colleague, Mr. Konosuke Kokuba, Parliamentary Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs, for giving me the opportunity to join this meeting today and discuss this immensely important topic, disseminating information to migrants at a time of a global crisis. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the support of the government of Japan to IOM in general, and most particularly during these pandemic times. As mentioned by the Parliamentary Vice Minister, the annual forum has been co-organized by IOM and the Foreign Affairs Division of the Consular Affairs Bureau of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan since 2005 to cultivate stronger understanding regarding the acceptance and the integration of migrants. Today, I would like to share IOM's global perspective on the pandemic and the inclusion of migrants in communication. In January 2021, the world reached two grim milestones: 100 million COVID-19 cases and over 2 million related deaths have been reported since the start of the outbreak. The pandemic is historically unprecedented in terms of the health, humanitarian, and the social-economic devastation it has wrought. But it has also brought international mobility to a rapid standstill. More than 200 countries, territories, or areas have issued more than 85,000 travel restrictions in 2020, which have been put into effect by governments worldwide to contain and to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Many of these policies have created new challenges for migrants and other mobile populations, while at the same time exacerbating existing vulnerabilities. We have estimated that by the middle of 2020, nearly 3 million migrants were stranded across the world, in need of support, yet unable to return home. At the same time, the pandemic has reconfirmed the essential role that migrants play in our own societies, contributing to our socio-economic development and collective well-being, providing critical services from healthcare to food delivery, while our communities were in lockdown. In some settings, migrants may be more vulnerable to health risks, not because they are migrants, but because of how societies treat migrants. They may be prevented from accessing social protection. They may be much more frequently exposed to abuse and to exploitation. They may be forced to work in hazardous conditions or live in overcrowded conditions where access to clean water and sanitation can be a daily challenge. In addition, while many governments have taken steps to include migrants in social and health policies, many more still face barriers in accessing health care, because they lack immigration status, proof of identity, or because the costs are too high. Most relevantly for this discussion, I believe, some migrants do not access health and social services because they are offered through channels that do not reflect their linguistic or their cultural needs. As the full social economic impacts of the pandemic unfold, we have strong concerns that migrants face additional vulnerability, and particularly those in irregular situations. Many have lost their source of income as businesses close or go bankrupt. Others take risks and expose themselves to the disease as they cannot afford to miss work and lose income. Many have fallen sick, facing stigma and discrimination in our societies, and unable to seek medical help for fear of arrest or deportation. This pandemic has shown us that when it comes to health, unless everyone is protected, no one is ever truly safe. IOM is working closely with member states, the World Health Organization, and other partners in strongly recommending that national authorities ensure that all migrants have access to essential health services. We must work to reduce the number of administrative hurdles for migrants to access health services, including high costs and proof of residence or identity. This includes the full inclusion of migrants into national COVID-19 vaccination planning, regardless of their legal status. We must offer guarantees that seeking health services will not lead to detention or deportation. We must strengthen health systems, particularly in developing economies, and establish mobile and outreach mechanisms wherever they are needed to ensure last-mile access. And we must actively reach out to migrant communities through linguistically and culturally competent communication methods in order to build trust, to inform, and to engage migrant communities in health programming. We have seen during this COVID-19 pandemic that timely information can save lives. It is therefore crucial that the information we share is accurate, up to date, and in a language that is understood by those that we are trying to reach. IOM's global footprint and its prominent role in humanitarian operations, most particularly in camp and camp-like settings worldwide, allows it to provide and to promote life-saving information on COVID-19 to diverse populations, which include migrants, refugees, and internally displaced communities. Over the past year, we have collected examples of new and innovative methods for sharing information. Lockdowns and social distancing have pushed us to explore digital rather than in-person means of communicating, utilizing a broader range of media sources. Information, education, and communication materials have been produced by IOM across the globe in the form of posters, brochures, animations, video clips, radio broadcasting pieces, TV programming, hotlines, web pages, and social media posts. All of that to ensure migrants are widely reached and received accurate information on COVID-19 as much as possible in their native languages. A variety of techniques can indeed be used simultaneously. In Thailand, for instance, we have supported the development of mobile phone applications in various languages to keep migrant workers informed during the pandemic, while helping the government to develop multilingual and practical guidance for employers, including employers of domestic workers. Trust is important, including trusted interlocutors. In West Africa, for instance, IOM is leading a very innovative information campaign designed to counter COVID-19 misinformation, building on a network of returnee migrant volunteers formed as part of a large regional program known as Migrants as Messengers. And outreach is not only for migrants, but for all communities. In Mexico, for instance, we have launched a social media campaign entitled COVID-19 Does Not Discriminate, Why Do You? This used social networks to sensitize citizens on the importance of avoiding xenophobia and hate speech towards migrants. Communication of critical information, I know, is not easy. We have seen how the pandemic has exacerbated the impacts of digital inequality. Those without access to online tools and online information, including, of course, migrants, have become further excluded. We must redouble our efforts to communicate, and in doing so, remain mindful that a broad range of approaches are needed, both online and offline. In conclusion, IOM, in close cooperation and partnership with the government of Japan, is fully committed to an inclusive and accountable approach to ensuring access to information and the provision of timely assistance and services to the people we serve during this pandemic as a part of successful implementation of the Global Compact for safe, orderly, and regular migration. I thank you.